What's up, guys? It's JZNES back again with another video. Today we're talking about a true classic amongst classics, the very first Zelda game I ever beat, and my second Zelda game I ever owned, played. I can't remember if I owned Link's Awakening at the time, again, because my brother owned Link's Awakening, which is the game we skipped over, by the way, also, to mention it. Link's Awakening is amazing, and it's my second favorite Zelda game. But we've already reviewed that game via the remake, which is very similar to the original game, so I feel like that suffices. I wouldn't really have much more to say about Link's Awakening that I didn't say in that video, so go watch that video if you're curious on the little gap there. I'll probably add it to the playlist with that video in between Link to the Past and Ocarina there. But this game, wow, this was the first N64 game that I bought alongside my N64. No, the second game I bought. Sorry. I got Mega Man 64 first. And then I bought this next because, as I've told before, this daycare I used to go to was at these people's house. This older kid had Ocarina of Time, and we used to watch him play Ocarina of Time all the time before I even had an N64 or like really had any of that kind of stuff or was able to play the N64 a whole lot. We played at their house quite a bit, but I didn't get my own N64 until like later on, maybe like 99 or 2000 maybe. Probably around then is accurate. Probably 2000 or 2001, I'm gonna say, that I got my N64 there. See, he knows, right, when I'm making a video. Also, I know my shirt is like black. It's actually green. I know you can't see that, but that's like the green screen effect we've been having lately. So, yeah, it's interesting. It never has done this before, now that I'm thinking about it, on any of these videos. So I've had this shirt on in other videos. You can see it in the other videos where it's green. But, yeah, so, but Ocarina of Time is a very special Zelda game to me. Of course you would go that way. Overall. And actually, I can't say this for many games, but this here is the very cartridge that I had as a kid. This is the very one I bought from Video Games Etc. a long time ago. And you can kind of see there's somebody's name there, Mr. Andrew Fox, who I don't know who that is, but I thought that was a pretty cool name, and he wrote his name on this game, and now it'll always be the Andrew Fox game, and that's how I'll know my original copy of Zelda Ocarina of Time there. Oh, I don't know what the other one. He's having a field day. So yeah, and then obviously I have the 3D remakes there for Ocarina of Time that came out later on the 3DS. I bought these when they were less expensive. There was a big boom there for a minute where they were really expensive. I remember when the 3DS came out as well. My brother's friend had it, and it was the first time I got to play Ocarina of Time 3D. Obviously, at that point, I'd beaten the game and everything. That was much later on, like 2013 or something. Maybe even 2014. It was probably 2013. Isn't that when the 3DS came out, 2013? Right? Whenever the 3DS fucking came out. I don't remember, man. It's been such a long time. 2013 or whatever, when the fucking 3DS came out. So, anyway. Yeah, I love Ocarina of Time. I've definitely put a lot of hours into this game. It's one of those games that I would just kind of replay a lot as a kid. I did a little bit more Majora's Mask as a kid, but as an adult, definitely I've really come around to be playing Ocarina a lot more. But I did play it a lot as a kid as well, and I did love it back then. But outside of like my initial playthrough, well, no, actually that's not true at all, because I remember other summers where I'd just sit there. I had like that, and Metal Gear Solid 1 was one I'd replay a lot. I remember I'd just go through Ocarina of Time a bunch of times. I think this is before Majora's Mask, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And then whenever Majora's Mask came into my life, I just got invested in that and would replay that again and again and again. But yeah, I remember doing that just in the summer, just playing through Ocarina again, like for funsies, you know. So yeah. But so anyway, this is one of those Zelda games that I'm a little bit biased with. Obviously, I've got a lot of nostalgia for it. But I do know that the game has its faults as well. Like, I love the game, personally. If you're here for a review score, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I'll explain why as we go on. Hopefully I do a good job at explaining that, but I know a lot of people nowadays like to say that this one's really overrated, and I can kind of understand that. From the perspective of people who weren't there at the time. Now, I wasn't there, like, the first second, but, like, seeing this game back in the day, like, blew my mind. Like, watching this kid play through this game was incredible. It was, like, the most epic fucking gaming experience at the time. Like, I wasn't even playing the game. I was just watching the game be played, and I was just astounded by, like, it was like a myth being told, you know, like an epic fantasy sort of thing just being shown to me. And, like, you went and fought this dragon and, like, a fucking Dodongo and like, Twin Rover and shit. I don't even... Like, Ganon. Fucking... I remember watching this guy do all of that. Just, like, going through the world and fighting everything and exploring around and shit. Just running... Just watching this guy run around in this world was really cool. I just loved watching the game being played. And, you know, like, that's how you know a game is really good, is if even watching the game is entertaining. You know, and I was a little kid at the time, so, like, whatever. But, like, I don't know, I was probably, like, 9 or something at the time, whatever that was. But, like, it was fascinating to me. You know, I loved that. Like, that was so amazing. Yeah, it was really incredible to be seeing that. So then later on, like I said, when I got my N64, this was the second game I bought. I had all those good memories of watching this guy play that. And, you know, the first few times I actually played the game, I was there at this fucking daycare with this guy, and he's like, I was asking him how to get past this part, because I'm like, oh, I know you played this. I remember watching you play it. He's like, oh yeah, let me do this for you. And then he fucking takes it, and he goes all the way from the fucking, Dodongo's Cavern, all the way to fucking, like, the Forest Temple, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, the whole time he's like, oh, well, I gotta do this thing for you, I gotta do this thing for you, I gotta do this thing for you, because you would be able to get through it or whatever. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? So I just restarted, like, I think the whole game, basically, so I could get the experience of myself, or maybe I had a save that was, like, earlier on in the game or something. But I restarted from whatever I was stuck and just did it myself, because I'm like, fuck that, I want to experience this game, dude. You're taking that experience from me. But eventually, you know, I did get to sort of play it on my own later, and it was one of those things where I think I definitely probably, well, shit. I don't want to say definitely. I know in Majora's Mask I definitely used a guide to get through the Great Bay Temple, but I'm not sure that I actually used a guide to get through any of Ocarina, if I just figured that all out myself. I feel like I remember the Water Temple taking me forever, not because it was, like, really bad or anything, just because one of the keys was, like, hidden behind, like, such an obscure way to go and get this key, and I think it was the one that's, like, behind, like, up near the waterfall where you, like, the boulders falling and all of that stuff, and then, like, maybe not, maybe it was actually earlier on. The thing about the Water Temple, and I guess I'm just kind of jumping the gun here, but the thing about the Water Temple is you just gotta have to pay attention to your map, and, like, it's a really well done temple when you, like, kind of get the mechanics of it. Like, you know, you have to raise and lower the water, but you also have to think, okay, when the water is raised and lower at this point, let me check every cardinal direction, north, south, east, west. There's usually 4 doors on each side, and you just need to check each one of those to see what has changed every time that you raise and lower this water. and then you'll get through the temple, because you'll always find your stuff that you will there, your keys and whatnot, to be able to progress. So that's my pro tip about the water temple. Now, as a kid, I didn't do that, and I wasn't that systematically and logically thinking this all out. I was being a stupid kid and not doing that. So, the water temple was really hard for me. But I do remember as a kid having a great time going through the earlier temples, doing all the side content. I don't think I ever really... I think I did do the mask thing, but I think that it definitely took me a little while to figure out where the postman... I call him the postman because he's the running man in this game, but he was the postman in Majora's Mask, which is my more memorable interpretation of this character. I do like him as a character in this game as well, how he takes the bunny hood and is just kind of a runner and all of that. And that kind of informs his character in the next game too. He's really fast and he's kind of on schedule and regular and whatnot, doing the post and all of that. So I think that's pretty cool. But he's cool, and everyone is always like, oh, you can't beat the Running Man in the future, which is true. There was hoaxes about you being able to beat the Running Man in the future. And then Miyamoto was talking about how, it changes a small thing at the end of the game. Well, if you give him the bunny hood, he's running around in the background of the ending. Whereas if you don't give him the bunny hood, that doesn't happen, or something like that. He doesn't have the bunny hood, or something to that effect. That's the only thing that it really changes. You can't beat the Running Man. Before I forget, though, talking about the ending is really good. I like a lot of Zelda endings, but this has to be within my top 5 Zelda endings. Probably number 1 being Majora's fucking Mask, because it's the greatest ending to a video game ever, outside of maybe Tomba or something. But Majora's Mask has a really, really good ending, and you get all the characters and stuff there. You get a very similar thing with Ocarina of Time. I don't want to go into Majora's Mask because we'll do that next time. But you get a very similar thing with Ocarina of Time. But, they're having this big party, the world's saved, all this stuff. But the thing is that I noticed, and I think I've probably noticed this before, and I have one little other secret to talk about here after I get done with talking about this ending. It's a great ending, and the music's really good, and it's kind of a medley of the themes that you've been listening to throughout the game. But the thing that I noticed is Mido and the King Zora are sitting there near the end before the sages fly off to Death Mountain or whatever, and they look really sad. And I guess my kid brain just thought oh, whatever, they're loners, or I didn't pay that much attention to it. But I got a little bit teary-eyed when I realized it this time around. But they're sitting there sad because those two characters specifically were affected by the sages that became the sages, and they're now missing or whatever. I'll talk about a theory in a second about that. But and they're looking all bummed, and I'm like, oh my god, it just hit me. I'm like, shit, they're actually really bummed out because they think those characters are probably dead, which is my theory as well. But wow. And then they see them fly over, and it's specifically Asaria and Ruto are right next to each other, and those are the ones that are in the front. And I just thought that was really cool. They definitely, that was definitely a detail they were trying to go for there. Whether the sages are dead or not, you can speculate on that. But they were definitely going to that detail. So there's a theory that the sages are all dead and they all die doing things before you come to their dungeon, and that's why some of them you don't see as an adult, or some of them you do see, but they're all kind of dead by the end of the dungeon, and that's why they become the sages or whatever. Somebody's got the theory out there. It's a long-standing theory. They've got more evidence than I have. I'm not talking about all of that right now. I just think it's a really interesting theory. I think it makes sense, especially with the Darunia or whatever. He goes in to fight Volvagia, and he can, he dies because you don't see him in the chamber when you go in there to fight him, or her, whatever, the dragon Volvagia, who's a lot like Barbara. Is it Barbara? What's the dragon's Barbros or whatever from Zelda 2, the dragon in that game? Kind of like very similar to that fight. Aesthetically, Barbara. I don't fucking know. Whatever Barbros, I think it is. Anywho, so he dies from that, and Naburu, you don't see her at the end there. You see her in the suit, and then Twin Rover like teleports her elsewhere, but you don't see her again. So like it's assumed she could be dead. That kind of thing. Anyway, it's a theory. I like that theory. And if you go with that theory, then it actually lends a lot to that little bit where they're sitting there and then they're kind of sad about that. I just, that all kind of hit me at the same time, and I'm like, oh wow, that's why they're sad. Like, holy shit. So on top of that, I did discover one other little thing this playthrough. I feel like I always discover something. Like last playthrough I did was just like another 100% playthrough, and I did it on Ocarina of Time 3D. So that was my 100% on that one, and I've 100%ed Ocarina of Time before on the cartridge. Actually, that cartridge there probably has it 100% playthrough just sitting on it, and one of those DS or 3DS cartridges or on the SD card or whatever has 100% save. So yeah, so I did that more recently. Shit, like that was probably still like 3. Well, yeah, but it's 20. God damn it, it's 2022 already. Like 4 years ago, like literally, actually 4 years ago. And I think 4 years ago, I'm still thinking it's 2020, so I'm like 2016. I'm like, that seems too early, because it was too early. But my brain actually knows that it is 2022, and 4 years ago is fucking exactly when I did that in like 2018 or whatever. It's probably actually before that. It was probably 2017, so it's probably like 5 years ago when I did it. So when I say more recently, it's still a good amount of time ago, but I did 100% both of those games, and I think I've 100%ed Ocarina twice, if I remember correctly, like the original version of it. So that's fun. And I definitely know that I at least got all the heart pieces back in the day. I don't remember if I did get all of the Skulltulas back in the day. Something tells me that I didn't, because there's some really well hidden ones. And that was kind of the point I was going to get at. There's some secrets in this game that, like, if you don't have like a guide or something, it's kind of hard to find some of these. Like there are parts in dungeons like the Fire Temple and Dodongo's Cavern where you need to well, the Fire Temple one anyway, and like I think like it's one of the other temples too. You need the Scarecrow song, which is totally optional and like very out of the way thing. You have to go talk to the Scarecrow at Lake Hylia as a kid, give him the song, play him a song, then you come back as an adult, play him the song, then you can use the Scarecrow, his friend, to make Scarecrows so you can hookshot onto them. And you have to just know to do this. And where Navi goes and turns green, that's always where you can like hookshot to. Oh, it was in the Shadow Temple. That's the one. I never knew how to get that one. You could always hear the Skulltula up there, but when you climb the ladder or the fencing or whatever, it takes you to the upper part of the Shadow Temple again. And I'm like, how do you get that Skulltula? I don't know. But the solution is the Scarecrow song. So what I made mine was like, right, or sorry, left, like 7 times and then up. So that's it. So yeah, also this is my original N64 controller. You can tell because it's got my memory card on the back there. Actually, so that might be what holds the... No, because Ocarina... Yeah, the Ocarina card would hold the save. So yeah, but anyway, I got my memory card on there. I think that's got my Mega Man Legends save on there or something. I don't know. But this is my original controller. The stick is still like the same stick and everything, so it's probably pretty busted up. See, even the green, that's, yeah, anyway. that's my original controller. That's my original cartridge. So they're here together. They've been here together for a long time. These are two of, like, you know, some of the earliest pieces of video game stuff that was mine that I still own. Maybe the earliest outside of my copy of Tomba. Yeah, probably like the second earliest thing I own, you know? So, pretty cool. Actually, and I remember this. This here is a guide that my friend John, you can see it's very well loved, but my friend John gave me a long time ago. He also gave me his Wind Waker guide, which is another game. I used that guide to play the game or whatever, but this guide here is like it's a pretty different guide. It's the Versus guide, so it's like, I've never seen this outside of this specific one, but I remember he would come and show this to me, like, in middle school and shit, and I'd be, like, looking at it, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, like, yeah, you know, I played that game, I love that game, or whatever, so, but it's pretty neat. I just like to collect guides, because, you know, they're kind of don't exist anymore, and then I have, of course, the official guide here, by Prima, and, yeah, it's pretty cool as well. I got this years later at, like, Disc Replay or whatever. So yeah, what's that? Hold on a second. Oh, it's a Star Wars thing. Anyway, so yeah, I've got those. I got the manga here. I've got, you know, obviously Zelda. Yeah, so we talked about it. Anyway, so while we're jamming here to the Hyrule Field theme, I gotta say that this is one of those games that when I hear the soundtrack, I get really nostalgic about, you know? This is such an iconic soundtrack, and, like, there's no doubt about that. Like, I know a lot of the songs are songs that have been used in previous Zelda games, like the Kakariko Village theme, but they were just brought to a whole new level here, you know? You get this whole new range of audio. This song, especially, the Hyrule Field theme, is so iconic. I listen to this shit, like, all the fucking time. And especially back in the day when I was playing the game. Zelda's Lullaby, obviously, is very iconic, you know. That song is incredible. You know, just all the other songs, even, that you play on the Ocarina. The Sun song, the fucking Song of Storms is fucking iconic as shit. Epona's song, everyone knows that, you know, which we'll get to here in a bit. The Song of Time, of course, and the Temple of Time. And, you know, this was, like, the first game to introduce, like, this time mechanic or... Well, I mean, I guess Link to the Past kind of did it, but that was, like, the Dark World. It was, like, that's supposed to be in the future. I think it's just, like, an alternate world, right? It's not, like... Or is that in the past, even? Link to the Past. It's in the past, so I guess it is like a time thing. Sorry. All right, Link to the Past did it first. All right, shut up. I like Link to the Past. All right, I'm sorry, I forgot. All right, so this is the first one to kind of do like the same characters and everything. I feel like in Link to the Past, a lot of the other world, they didn't have like a lot of the same characters and stuff. So you directly get to see the events of your actions and letting Ganon win, essentially. Not that you could have really done anything about that at the time. That's why the Temple of Time seals you away, so you become an older Link, so you can actually fight Ganon and all that. But, yeah, so, like, you directly get to see how the world you've been exploring as a kid with that childlike innocence destroyed and like definitely like in ruins, essentially. And I know, like, not all of it is that bad. Like, I know the whole joke is like, oh well, the worst one's the Castle Town or whatever, and that's it. That's pretty much all that happened. Castle Town and Ganon's Tower. Like Zora's Domain is pretty much empty. That was a very vibrant area when you were a kid. Oh, Zora's Domain. That's a fucking track right there. That's so serene and so calming. I love that. We'll get that there when we get there, you know, with the soundtrack here. I don't think it's played yet. I've been trying to focus on talking, rather. These songs, like, I just hear them so ingrained in my head that I almost can tune them out at this point. Not that they're bad, but they're great. They're amazing. That was my point about the soundtrack. Is it's so iconic and so special to so many gamers, and just these songs are amazing and very well composed and whatnot. They were come to inform later Zelda soundtracks. You know, they even used a lot of this music again in Majora's Mask because it was, you know, under a deadline to be made or whatever. So, notably, the Zelda theme is missing from this one. You know, so that's pretty crazy. They use it again in Majora's Mask, but like not in Ocarina. You know, so yeah. But yeah, you get to directly see the impact of what Ganon's done to the world. You know, froze over Zora's domain. The Gorons are all imprisoned, and like the forest is overrun by these giant like Minotaur dudes or whatever. You know, stuff like that, and the plants and all of that. Like, you know, just all of that stuff. Like the Kokiri are just hiding in their houses, you know, before they were out and being playful and vibrant and all that. And you really get to, like, the whole world before was just, like, very innocent, and then it all gets taken away when Ganon comes in and makes the whole world much darker by taking over. So yeah, that's just, like, it's pretty cool to see that progress. And you kind of get to follow up with a lot of people that you did when you were younger. It's not to like a Majora's Mask level or anything. I really wish they would have kind of done more stuff like that, where there would have been some side quests or something to really connect you to the characters. Can you imagine that? That would have been really cool in Ocarina of Time, where you get to connect with a lot of these characters as a kid, and then they're just gone and missing later on in the future. And I guess that is kind of how like the Mask side quest works and stuff. Like those characters, you don't really see any of them in the future timeline. Like the Happy Mask Salesman, where's he at in the future timeline? You see him in the ending. You see all these characters in the ending, except for like that kid and whatever. Like Dampy, he died, and then you get to like race him in that grave. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, not that he died, but like that like you see this guy as a kid. He's an old guy, you know. He's always out in the rain or whatever. And then you see his ghost, and you race his ghost through his grave or whatever. So that's just, it's kind of cool. It's like, see, that's one of those progression things. Some characters like look relatively the same. Like the Cuckoo Lady, she looks exactly the same, and the windmill guy and like stuff like that. So they don't really change much over time. So like, I get you don't want to make like an older model or like, but that's kind of a missed opportunity. It's only been 7 years. It's not gonna look that much different, but like, you know, like, I'm just saying. But like, even like Longmont Ranch, an area you go to as a kid, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, okay, but that's the one thing. So they do have characters that age, though. Like Malon, she ages. Talon doesn't look that much older, but Malon sure does. Like, she becomes like a woman. Like, so like, she's like the only one though out of all of them. And then they've reused that well in Majora's Mask. So it's just kind of odd. Like, most characters don't really age that much. So it's like a good and a bad kind of thing. Like, I get aesthetically they couldn't just like make a bunch of new character models or whatever, but like, would have been kind of cool. So yeah, I guess let's just talk about like, here's all the basics, like, right, of a Zelda game. It's like, so you got your heart pieces. This time around, that's a lot more in depth, I think, than it finally kind of perfected that, in my opinion. A Link to the Past kind of started the whole trend of heart pieces are everywhere. You know, there's heart pieces at all. I mean, the original Zelda only had hearts. Zelda 2 only had hearts. Or, like, those bottle things. They were hearts, right? Yeah, anyway, they would make your life more. In Link to the Past, you would get heart pieces to make hearts. And then, in this game, I feel like this is, like, the perfect system of, like, Some are hidden throughout the world. Some are you win them through mini games. You have to do this like obscure thing for this guy to get a heart. It's like hidden next to a cow in this one spot that you can only get to if you like fly there or hook shot there. Like, and that's the cool thing about this game too. That is like depending on if you're a kid or an adult, there's different ways to get at things. Some things you can only get to as an adult. Some things you can only get to as a kid. But like. Usually there's multiple times in the game that you can get at most of these things if you're clever enough. Like you can fly, you know, Kebora Gabora down from Death Mountain to get to this cow next to this heart piece. Or you can, when you're an adult, hookshot up there. Or, as I've learned today, although I think I did know about this, now thinking about it a little bit, but kind of blew my mind again when I remembered this. If you hook shot onto the house where the guy gives you that heart piece just like randomly as an adult, obviously I'm talking about the hook shot, so you can only have that as an adult. You hook shot up there, you know, but Kidling can use it in Majora's Mask. I don't know, whatever. You hook shot up there as an adult, and you talk to that guy, he gives you the heart piece, right? Okay, cool. Then, if you look over at the windmill, you can notice it from below too, but you can notice it better if you like look at it. Actually, I should have a picture of this. Here, let me show this. This is interesting. And I know a lot of people probably know about this, but I kind of definitely forgot about this. I even knew about this, but like, so there's a little opening there with a little like peg thing that you can get to, and inside is a cuckoo, which are like pretty much absent from the adult timeline there anyway in the town, which is odd because one of the side quests to get the first bottle is to round up all the cuckoos as a kid, and then as an adult they're not there, but you can hear it, and I guess I never put that together that it was up there because I only think I only knew about this like more recently, as of like 5 years ago or whatever. And then when I saw this again and hookshot it up there, I'm like, wow, I'm still learning or re-remembering aspects of this game that I still like don't know or like forgot that they were a thing, you know? When I thought that I had found every secret in 100% of the game. There's like some really obscure shit that you can do. Like you can take the Deku mask, which in this game is like totally useless, and go to this one spot in the forest, in like this random ass spot in the forest. You can fall down this hole, and I think if you talk to those Dekus, you got to do like a mini game or something. That's how you get like upgrades for your seed pouch and like your Deku sticks or something like that. And I think maybe the Deku nuts. That's how you get like all the final upgrades for them. Which you can do other stuff to get upgrades for those, but like it's just so like out of the way and obscure that you would like never think to do it. But there's stuff like that that's just like hidden away in the game. And it's not even important that you do that. Like you're probably never going to use those upgrades, but you can do it, and it's there in the game. So that's cool. This song is iconic. I was just talking about this, you know, Wild Mountain Ranch. It's like, and they reuse it for the ranch in Majora's Mask, Romani Ranch. Oh man, you know, it's just like, it's so nostalgic. It just takes you back, and I think that's the idea of this song, and in a lot of the songs on the soundtrack, but especially this song, is that feeling of security and serenity and safe and calm, you know, and nostalgia as it is. And yeah, whew. Listen to that. Isn't that just beautiful? Did you just love that? Like, fuck, everyone's like, oh, this game's so overrated. And it's just like, yeah, but dude, like, listen to this. Come on, isn't this great? I know. It's like, but it was the first Zelda. You gotta understand, like, this was one of the first 3D games to, like, really be this epic and bold, and you ran around, and the controls, I know, people are, like, citing them, and the camera and shit is not being that great now. But locking behind was the standard at the time, you know? And the Z button is just fucking great. Z targeting, man? that was the shit, man. Like, no other game had fucking done that, like, as far as I can think of at the time. And it was just revolutionary, you know? I know everyone hates going to the start button. Oh, to go over to my iron boots. Sad face. Ocarina of Time 3D is so much better. It fixed all that. And I got the baby thing and the water temple map and all this shit. And it's just like, yeah, it's fine. But, dude, you can't beat the original N64 version. I like Ocarina of Time 3D, obviously. I think that's probably the definitive version. I think there was like a few control things in that one where it was just like, it's like, it's kind of ironic because it does probably control better overall, but it's just like, I don't know, once you're kind of used to the old controls, it's not really that bad. The only thing about, like, I know I'm kind of skipping around, but the only thing about the controls that kind of sucked is there is no good way to map this shit to this shit without using the other analog stick as the fucking C buttons, because you like literally can't do it. The only thing I figured out was I put A and B here, you know, on these buttons, and then these didn't even matter. This was like fucking L, which you don't really use. All it does is turn off your map and turn on your map. Start with triangle, because I just figured that was good. So it's like the start button here. It's like, whatever. You know, obviously L and or R, and then so for your shield and all that, and then Z trigger is here, and then I used these for my load and save state on the top there. So yeah, and then obviously movement and whatnot. So that's probably the best system I can think of to map the buttons. It really depends what game you're playing. It's just like, thank God you're not using the L button that much. I feel like that's most N64 games, though. So that's probably a pretty decent setup, is you use the L buttons with the analog stick. But, you know, the analog stick is so sensitive, especially when I'm trying to fucking play Ocarina notes really fast. Like, there's a frog mini game that you have to do later on to get 2 heart pieces. As you get all the songs, and then you go back as a kid, play them all the songs. That's 1 heart piece. Then the other heart piece is you have to do their mini game, which is a set pattern. So I just looked it up on my phone and then started doing that. But even when I knew what buttons it was gonna be, it was fucking still really hard to do, just because of the sensitivity of the fucking stick, you know? Because it's not meant for that. It's meant for fucking buttons, you know? And the A button. Button. Who's got the button? Anyway, so like, you know, you're meant to do this, not like, you know, like, you're not meant to do that. It's a whole different thing. So, yeah, so that was kind of, like, that was like the one instance maybe where that came up at all. Like, other than that, it's fine. Like, all of the other challenges, the fishing minigame went fine, and like, I'm trying to think what the other ones were. The bow mini games were all pretty good. Like, those weren't that hard at all. Oh god, I can't. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna do Majora's Mask 100% next time around, because like I literally just played that through with Mayab like last year, and 100%ed it there. Not that I don't love that game, but the one thing about that game that like really bothers me is some of the mini games, and especially it's not even most of the mini games. It's just the shooting gallery one. That is literally, or those two, because you actually have to not only do you have to do the one in the town, but the one in the swamp, and then there's like you have to do the one in the swamp again. Like, so you have to do it like twice, like perfectly. It's so fucking insane. I did it last time, and it was fine. And save states and stuff will help a lot, but like, oh my god, like Jesus Christ, ugh, God, those are hard to do. The 3DS versions fix that a lot. And here the shooting game is really not that bad. You don't need that quick of reflexes, and especially when you have save states and stuff, it's super easy. But like seriously, wow, the one in Majora's Mask is a lot harder. But yeah, anyway. So you have mini games like that. You have like the bomb chew thing, which like I used to have a lot of trouble with as a kid. It's really not that hard. The treasure chest one, where all you got to do is use the lens of truth, and then you just like win. There's literally no way to do that, other than like blind guessing, which is like not really a good strategy. Couple of things, like there's in the castle town there, what's cool is there's a bomb like shop just like in the back alley there, and like that's pretty cool. Like you can buy bomb shoes there. It's like one of the only places you can buy bomb shoes outside of the carpet salesman, who's just randomly sitting over there near the spirit temple, like in that desert or whatever, and he sells you bomb shoes for like 200 rupees or something. It's ridiculous. The guy in the other place sells you bomb shoes for like 100 rupees. And then you can just find them inside of Ganon's tower and like the spirit temple there in like small chests or whatever. That's how I do it. But yeah. But like the bomb chew game, like that gives you the bomb bag, and I just like how those upgrades of like holding more of those items and like the quiver and stuff is all hidden behind like games related to those things. So it's like the bomb chew one is with the bombs, like that you get the bomb bag for that, and you get a heart piece for that. The quiver one is like at the shooting gallery, and then the infamous shooting gallery on the horseback, which if I didn't have save states, as I know as a kid, was one of the hardest fucking, that I like without a doubt, that is the hardest thing to do legitimately on an N64 with this broken ass stick, especially as of like fucking 10, 15 years ago. How long was 10 years ago? No, very much longer than that, like 15 years ago. No, even longer than that ago, like 18 years ago or whatever, trying to do this shit with that fucking stick, trying to get that shit to work so I can 100% get all the, not 100%, but get all the heart pieces finally and accomplish my dream of, finishing Ocarina of Time with all the hearts or whatever, shit I had to do as a kid. Fucking that shooting gallery one, that took me fucking forever. The horseback one in the Gerudo, area there. That one is ridiculous because you have to hit like so precisely, and especially if you're not save stating, you have to spend money on that every single time. So it's like, so you'd have to like go get more money, then come back and just for another shot at it. Shit, that one's hard. Another cool thing that they have is the Gerudo training grounds or whatever, where you get the ice arrows. The ice arrows and the fire arrows are like totally optional in this game. Well, I say totally optional, but you actually you don't need the fire arrows, but they're very helpful. Like in Ganon's tower and stuff, you can like walk forward and I think use Din's fire. So you either have to get the fire arrows or Din's fire, otherwise you literally cannot beat Ganon's tower. So, and Din's fire is like kind of off the beaten path too. You have to go back to the Hyrule Castle to get it. I didn't even get Faro's Wind or whatever, which is the one that's over near the like Jabu Jabu's area there, whatever you call that, his fountain or whatever, that's what they call it, right? I didn't even go and get that one this time. That item is actually very helpful because you can set up a waypoint and then like just warp back to that, like, and that's really cool. Like that's like, wow. Very cool. So you can like set it up at the beginning of the dungeon and like in whatever room you need, and then just like warp back to the beginning, like go get fairies and stuff, come back, and it'll be there to where you can like warp back where you were in the dungeon and shit. So like that's really helpful. I should have gone and got that, but I just kind of like forgot about it and it was like, whatever. But super useful item there, like pretty underrated. I don't think a lot of people like really use that one. I bet like a lot of speedrunners and shit would do it, but like, Saria's song, like this is fucking iconic. don't tell me that this soundtrack isn't like one of the most iconic Zelda soundtracks, because it is. Like, holy shit. Like, listen to this. Tell me somebody doesn't fucking know this shit if they're like a gamer. Like, everyone knows this shit, right? Everyone knows this shit. So yeah. So that's cool. And I was talking about earlier how there's a lot of the Skulltulas and whatnot that are just like really off the beaten path, and you should like really have to search for them. And there is one that's kind of in an area. I just thought of it because it's over in that area in Jabu Jabu's Fountain. When it's like iced over or whatever, when you're an adult, pretty sure. Maybe it's when you're a kid. I don't know. It's one or the other, and then you have to like find this obscure path behind everything, and then when you finally get to the top of that, there's a Skulltula there. So that's interesting. It's interesting that there was an ice cavern too. It's like just like a little mini dungeon, kind of like the training grounds, but the training grounds is optional. There wasn't really like any other mini dungeon. Oh, the well. There was the well. Yes, there was like two, like just kind of mini dungeons where you get like these items. You get the iron boots and the ones of truth. So that's really cool. Adds a little bit more to the game. I remember when I was a kid, I like didn't know how to. I like was looking around the well. I would go down to the well as a kid, and also as Link kid, go down there, and then I would beat the Skulltula guy, and I'd just be like, how do I progress? Like, it told me I need to come down here, and there's going to be the ones that shoot down here. And then eventually I figured out that you can just walk through this wall, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? You just walk through this wall? There's a whole dungeon back here? So I thought that was kind of funny that we discovered that. And then, yeah, so that's like a pretty interesting dungeon, too, because it's like, there's lots of little paths, and you fall down a lot of different places, and yeah, a lot of little secrets in that dungeon, which are pretty cool. And there's a lot of secrets in this game that aren't really advertised as well. There's an item that you can get. I didn't even talk about the whole purpose of getting the gold Skulltulas, which is like the coolest concept, that these are all hidden out throughout the world. They're like the better version of the Koroks or whatever, like a really good collectible throughout the game that you can find. I think they kind of did fairies in Majora's Mask, but that was only like in the dungeons or whatever, so it wasn't really the same thing. It wasn't like throughout the world you can find these things. I don't think a Zelda game has really done that kind of thing that I can think of. I'm probably just not remembering one, but like, you know, like again, just like that. Like it's a really big thing that you just hid all of these little guys throughout the world, and some of them you can only encounter at night, most of them, and then like a lot of them it's like you have to fulfill a certain condition, or like roll into this tree, or they're like down in this obscure hole somewhere. Anyway, so there's this house where there's 5 people, or 6 people really, that are cursed by these Skulltulas. So finding them throughout the world, I got like 72 or 3 or something just by playing through the game this time, and kind of like I went a little bit out of my way, but I didn't like want to do all of them because I knew that would be kind of a pain. And I knew I would forget that, oh, did I do this one or did I not do this one, kind of thing. Whatever. It's a fun side quest to do if you're really looking for more content in the game. And I think that it's good that it's there as a side quest, because it's really awesome. And that's what I'm trying to get at here, is it's amazing. And it gives you extra things to look out throughout the world, little extra hidden secrets and stuff. And that's really neat. It is actually keeping in spirit of the original game, the first Zelda, finding like just hidden secrets everywhere. And that's, I think, part of the magic of this game. Especially if you were there in 97 or whatever to really, or 98. 97? God, I always get that confused. Is it 97 or 90? I think it's 97, right? 98 it says? Okay. I mean, that just says it here. Anyway, so in that, you know, like in the 90s, late 90s, like it was still magical because it was just like, oh wow, like, you know, like the internet wasn't as prominent. There was internet walkthroughs and stuff, but like I didn't really like know about that shit. as much until like Majora's Mask. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. I think I used a walkthrough for like Majora's Mask, but this one I don't think I really did. We didn't have YouTube back then and shit. You just kind of have to hear this from your friend. Like, okay, I remember even one of my friends called me up and he's like, all right, so what do I do with the chicken egg, like at the beginning of the game? And I'm just like, oh, well, you gotta wait for the time to lapse and then it'll hatch or whatever. And he's like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then he's like, or maybe he was like, what do I do with the chicken or something? And I'm like, you got it. Then you go wake up the guy, like, so it's just kind of funny. That's because he was playing it on the GameCube version too. So that's how much later on he was actually playing it. Oh, and that disc came out. Oh yeah, I should have brought that out. Shit. Oh well. And they did release Ocarina of Time, re-release Ocarina of Time on GameCube, and then they did the collection version, and it was released on all the virtual consoles and whatnot. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, even on like just all of them, and then now it's obviously on the Switch Online or whatever, and everyone's complaining about that. God, Nintendo, get your shit together. Like, okay, I did have my game crash a lot on me, but, like, you think Nintendo would be able to put together something that, like, wouldn't crash that much or whatever, but no, apparently, they're trying to fix it, but it's like, whatever. So yeah, like, the Skulltulas, though, yeah. So some of the rewards you get, the first reward is the big wallet, so you can get that with 10 Skulltulas. So you probably, if you're like looking around enough for them, within the first like few dungeons there, you can at least get like 7 or 8 that I can think of, and then as long as you're looking around in the world, you're probably going to get that. So you're pretty much going to need that too, because that's like 200 rupees that you can hold. So that one's pretty essential. The second one you get is the Stone of Agony. Now that was the reason I was trying to talk about these things, is because if you have the Rumble Pack equipped this, you can, while you're walking around the world, it'll rumble when there's like secrets, and sometimes there's just places that you can bomb. There's no indication that you can bomb them there. Most things that you can bomb in the game are pretty indicated that you can bomb there, but there's certain places in the world where there's like these really well hidden secrets that you can just bomb there, a lot like the original Zelda, and you'll just find a hole or something that you like go through, and then you can like some of them have like Skulltulas, one of them has a heart piece. It's just shit like that, man. Like, it's really cool. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, that's kind of cheap that they would do it. No, I think that's really fucking cool, because like these days games don't have secrets that are like super hard to find, because everyone on the internet will just spoil it for you. So, but back in the day, that shit like would have blown my fucking mind had I like played through the game and been like, okay, where's like this last fucking heart piece or whatever, and you had to like search around for your secrets and stuff. I just think that's really fucking cool. I love that, so yeah.
What else? Lots of secrets and the heart pieces and stuff. That's also really good. I really love that aspect of it. So all the side content is really, really, really good, and I love all of that. But the main adventure is also really good. Oh, also Epona, and you have to do the race against him, Luigi, whatever the fuck his name is, Ingo, that's it, in the future to get Epona. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then you can race Malon's like obstacle course to get at fucking cow in your house. Like, alright, cool. So that's a little interesting thing. But anyway, so the main dungeons are pretty cool. I like how the game starts you out, and it's like, go find the sword and shield. I think that's very cool stuff. Everyone's like, oh, well, you're just like farming for rupees or whatever. It's like, no, there's some clever ways hidden throughout the Kokiri village there that can get you rupees. Like if you Z-target onto like a sign or something on the one part, like over near where you crawl to get the sword or whatever, and you jump off of there, it'll give you 5 rupees. There's a spot, like if you climb up to that where that little girl is, like on that high area up there, where you like spiral around the house and you climb up there, there's 5 rupees up there. You can jump across the things to get 5 rupees. So the rupees add up like really fast, just from doing little things like that and just exploring and stuff, which is really cool. And it gives you a good sense of the controls and whatnot, and there's like little tutorials hidden throughout if you like want them, but you don't like have to go and like do that. And it gives you the freedom to explore while teaching you the game, which I think is really cool. And then you get your sword, you have to buy your shield, and then when you get inside the Great Deku, you know, of course he exposits on you for like forever. But when you get inside of him, it's the perfect first dungeon, and the music is so good too. But it's the perfect first dungeon to teach you all of the mechanics of a dungeon. It's so like compact and so good, and this is what the child dungeons do so well. Also another very iconic track. I know this is from Link's Awakening, right? They played this Link's Awakening? Yeah, they definitely did. But everyone knows this one. Anyway, my point is, so the Deku Tree is like the perfect introduction dungeon. The first thing you do is you have to like kind of climb up, and then the map and the compass are very close to each other. The map is right there. You cannot miss it. It's in that big chest, like right there. You'll always see it. Also, you notice that there's like the spiderweb thing on the floor, and you think that's kind of interesting, but you can't really do anything with it. Then you go over, you can get the compass, or the compass is actually up above. That's right, sorry. You go over, you get the slingshot, so that's your first item, and then this like platform, you're likely to have jumped on this platform to get to the slingshot. So the game sets it up for you. Also, you have to shield to knock the thing back at the Deku, so you do that a bunch in this dungeon, and like later on, you know how that's like how you fight Dekus throughout the rest of the game, so it's kind of teaching you that. That's cool. Once you got the slingshot, you have to shoot this little ladder down, so you know how the slingshot works. You have time to kind of, you know, aim with it and realize, oh, this is what you do with the slingshot, you know, so that's cool. It falls down, and then you realize, oh, hey, I can shoot those enemies up there on the vine things, and then once you shoot them, you climb up there, then you can go to the room to get the compass. In there is your first gold Skulltula, if you notice it. If not, there's like 2 of them later that you like really can't miss. So that's in there. Also the compass, and it gives you this little puzzle about jumping across the platforms, and also one where you have to use the Deku sticks to do the fire thing. So like, yeah, or do you have to do that there? You definitely have to do that later. So it's teaching all of these little mechanics of your items as well. Your Deku sticks and your Deku nuts and all of that. You don't really use the Deku nuts very often, but you can use them like later on in the game with the skeleton enemies and stuff. It's usually, that's when I would use the Deku nuts. But anyway, oh, and when you fight the pirates is from Majora's Mask. When you fight the Gerudo ladies later on, that's a really useful time to also use the Deku nuts to stun them, and then you can hit them. Anyways, so yeah, so it's a really good beginner introduction, and you're up there, then the little Deku guy tells you to jump down with your sword, so you do that, you cut into the web, and then you find like a whole new second area down there, and then this is when you should probably notice that there's the gold Skulltulas if you didn't notice before. You're going around through there. And then it's just like a few more rooms before you get back to the final boss. Because like most of the kid dungeons are pretty short, especially this one. It's a perfect introductory dungeon. is what I'm trying to get at here. And the final boss is like, or the final boss, the boss of this dungeon is pretty cool because it's pretty simple. All you gotta do is kind of look up at it and then shoot its eye. When you get the chance, it'll fall down. You hit it with your sword or your Deku sticks, which is the OP strategy, to hit it with the Deku sticks or whatever. And then that's it. And then you beat your first dungeon. And then you go and do this 2 more times to get the other spiritual stones and stuff. But you have to like do little side quests and stuff in order to like even go in there. You have to find the letter to give to the King Zora, and you get the scale to like be able to dive and stuff. And then like you have to help the Goron guy by like playing Saria's songs. You have to go into the forest and like figure that all out, and you can, yeah. So it's just like, it's really cool. There's lots of little extra stuff you kind of have to do in between, and it's like you have to go sneak into the castle after you get like you get there. Once you've like helped Malin and gotten Talon woken up and all that, you sneak into the castle and you have to play like the stealth mini game. That's pretty cool, you know? You go talk to Zelda, it's really like iconic, and you see Ganondorf. You can shoot the little Mario things to get the rupees or whatnot. Actually, I've got a secret for this game. There's big fairies in this game, not the big fairies that are like the sexy lady fairies, and not the little fairies that you get that like revive you, but there's big versions of those little revival fairies that are like bigger. If you, where the fairies are, if you take a Deku stick and you like walk around it or something like that, it'll form a bigger fairy which completely refills your health and your magic. So, in case you didn't know about that. And where those, like, little, like, circles of, rocks are, and you're like, oh, well, I bombed it. Like, there's nothing there. Like, what's that? A lot of times there'll be fairies there, and you can use that, with your stick or whatever. So that's a little pro tip for you. That's a pretty good, well-hidden secret, that I saw in a video that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. I don't even know if that's, like, in the guide or anything, as far as I've seen. And it says, all hidden items revealed. I doubt it, my sir. Do you have the big fairies in here? You know, did your thing follow the plight of Big Boss? I don't think so. So, yeah. But, you know, like, getting a guide like this is actually really helpful as well. For sure. Let's actually, I'm just curious. I really want to see if it's in here or not. But yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, one other thing I want to talk about. Also, the hover boots are pretty cool. I like those. One other thing I want to talk about is, and the hook shot. I mean, iconic, right? Like, obviously this game didn't invent the hook shot. I know Link to the Past, yes, and they have it in Link's Awakening? I'm so stupid. I can't even think right now. Yeah, they had it in Link's Awakening. Yeah, for sure. So, but it's really well utilized here within a 3D space. I think it's very well utilized. So yeah, you know, it's iconic. Everyone loves a hook shot. But the Bigoron Sword side quest is really cool. I know the time limits and all that like make people kind of frustrated. I remember my friend Jameson had a lot of trouble with the very final one where you have to go like from Lake Hylia all the way up to the top of Death Mountain, and he would always get to the final part with all the Skulltulas where you have to climb up, and he would always like, that would be the end of it. Like, I can do it pretty easily. It's not like, it usually is within like, you know, 30 seconds or something when I'm up there, and I don't want to fumble around too much, you know. And I think the one when I did it this time, it was really close, but he would always get up there and then just screw something up because he was so nervous trying to get up there. So yeah. And also that part in the fire temple where you're like walking around the thing to get to the hammer is really tricky because it's timed or whatever. So that's another one. There's actually a Scarecrow song spot in the Fire Temple too that kind of leads you to a room. And you can always see it up there, and you can see that there's a door up there and stuff, but it's like you don't know how to get there. But it's easily missable too. That's what I love about the Scarecrow song stuff. They're just all over the place. And then there's one, if you go into Dodongo's Cavern as an adult, because you can do that, which is kind of unique, because you can't really do that. You can you can't go into Jabba Jabba's belly, but you can go into, maybe, can you go into the Deku Tree? I don't remember as an adult. I don't think you can go into the Deku Tree as an adult. But you can go into Dodongo's Cavern, and there's actually a Skulltula you can't get unless you are an adult in there. I think there's even a Scarecrow song one in there as well, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, there's all these just like really hidden areas with that. Oh, and the magic beans. So you plant them as a kid, and then you come back as an adult, and they usually lead you to like a heart piece, or they make an area like more easily to get to, or Skulltula or whatever. So those are pretty cool. I like those a lot too. Yeah, see, there's just like a lot of little cool things like that. So they really thought this whole time mechanic out really well. Like things that you do will affect the future timeline. It's neat overall. So yeah. I like all of the dungeons pretty much. There's not a lot to say about Dodongo's Cavern or like the Jabba Jabba's belly. I guess that one, the thing to say is like, carrying around Princess Ruto and all of that. I do like how one aspect of the game I really like is that when you get items, that opens up to you new Skulltulas, new heart pieces that you can get, that kind of thing. So it's always fun to search the world again after you've beat a dungeon to kind of see, oh, can I do this thing now? Or I can go and get this one now. If you're a seasoned person, you kind of like know, oh, I can go and do this one now. One of them, like there's one on a Skulltula on the window at Romani Ranch there as a kid, and you can get it with the boomerang. So I always like go and remember to do that one, and that kind of thing. So yeah, whenever I get the boomerang, so it's like stuff like that where Metroidvania-esque, where it's kind of like you open up a little new thing you can do with the world. So you're always kind of experimenting and trying new things with all your items and seeing what you can. Now that you've got that, what can you do? With the bombs, obviously, you can bomb all over the place. There's secrets all over the place, like I was saying, with the bombs. And it's like, that's really cool. So it opens up a lot of new doors and a lot of new possibilities and stuff. So I just really like that. Some items aren't as useful, like the hammer. Like, you could use it a lot of times when you have to use bombs. So that's kind of probably what it's more useful for. Obviously, the arrows, the bow and arrow is really handy that you get in the Forest Temple. But yeah, I do really love the Forest Temple. That's probably my favorite temple out of all of them, just because of the atmosphere, the song, and whatnot. Here, let's see if we can skip ahead to that. Yeah, perfect. Alright. This song, okay, I gotta say, this song was, like, scary as shit to me as a kid. Like, it's very atmospheric. I actually find it very mysterious now, like, yeah, it has that kind of horror atmosphere to it, and I think that's what's really cool about the Forest Temple, is that it's like the ghosts and stuff, and then you have to fight Phantom Ganon at the end. It's very obviously meant to be like a haunted house kind of thing, like a haunted temple, which is really cool. Like you got like the Shadow Temple later on, and that's like more like actually horror and like gore and stuff. But it's like this is like ambience ambience, yeah, ambience, and it's ominous is what I was trying to say. Yeah. and you're just kind of like exploring this area, and it's got this like really creepy music, like not creepy, but it's got like a vibe to it, you know, like a sort of a horror vibe. That part in the background there, that used to scare the shit out of me. I don't know, it was like, okay, like obviously Silent Hill used to scare the shit out of me, but like this, I just found something really, and the chanting, I found something really unnerving about that. Later, and I'm not being racist here, but later on I learned that it was like an African chanting, and I'm like, oh, okay, so, that was probably it. Like, it just felt really weird to me. It felt different and like, off, you know, like, that kind of thing. It's like mysterious and like, you know, ominous, like I said. So, yeah. It's just, it's a really good track, and it's a really good dungeon. It's like one of my favorite dungeons, just because like the puzzles are really cool. I love the whole ghost thing, like shooting the pictures and then you fight the ghosts. Like all of that's really cool, and then you light up the little things. You constantly are progressing throughout the dungeon. You're lighting the little torches, and then you have to like go there to fight the final ghost. Then you fight Phantom Ganon, who's like great. He's like a test for like showing you how the final boss is gonna work with Ganon, like Ganondorf, that is. So I just really like that. I like how the picture thing, how he comes in and out of the pictures and all that, and he's got his horse. It's just a really cool dungeon, the Forest Temple overall. I don't know. Out of all of them, that's the one that just like sits the best with me. I remember my friend Jameson even got some of those horror vibes when we were going through it. Like the ghosts. What was it? Like the ghosts or that? I think it was the hand. That's what it was. It was the wall master would like come down and like try to get him, and he'd like, he'd like freak out and stuff. And that's this is also the introduction of the wall masters in this dungeon. So it's like a really good. Oh, and the twisted corridor, which they reused in Majora's Mask. I thought that was like super cool. That's what a cool thing. And you can shoot the thing and like untwist the corridor, so it'll be like different. And that's like how you get the boss key and stuff. And oh my god, yeah, really cool stuff. Great dungeon. I love that one. The Fire Temple, of course, it's like controversial for its music or whatever, but I always thought that music was really cool. And I did have the version that had the music. Well, I can't remember how that all works, but like if you look at the back of the cartridge, I have like the 1.1 version. You know, like there's the 1.0 version, which is like the gold one. I do have that as well. Oh, fuck. Forgot to bring out the fucking special edition back there. Well, I'll probably get that because it's like the only time I'm going to be talking about Ocarina of Time, really. So, yeah, it's always kind of sitting here looming in the background. In case I haven't talked about it already, I got this mint fucking nice-ass Ocarina of Time box, which is the collector edition box. I got this for $10 fucking dollars. $10. And inside it actually does have oh god, it's so nice. It's a little edge. It's like on the edges and stuff. I don't even want to open this thing because it's that nice. It has, of course, like the manual and stuff, but you know what? I don't even think I've ever fucking looked at this. Oh wow, that's a... I didn't even realize. Holy shit. There's a fucking Nintendo Power guide too. I don't even have that. I've never even seen that one, ever. Wow. Huh. That's weird, man. That's trippy. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. Like, I was gonna say, I've actually never looked at the Ocarina of Time manual, at all. But that's, yeah, this looks pretty cool. It's pretty basic. But, yeah, like, I have all that. So, this is from Majora's Mask. I don't know if that was, like, in there to begin with, but... Yeah, I don't think it was, because look, I got two different manuals. That's probably from a different game, the Majora's Mask thing. But, what I was trying to get at here to show was the cartridge. How do you... I gotta open it from the other side? Oh yeah, gotta open it from this side. Okay, there we go. Or not. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So, I bought this on eBay later on, but if you'll notice, where is that? Oh, you can't really see it. It's like right here. Whatever number is like right here, that tells you what version of the game this is. And this one is the 1.0 version, and that's the 1.1 version. There's also a 1.2 version. Now they changed a few little. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. They changed a few. They made like a few differences. They censored the blood for some reason, made it like green or whatever. And they changed the music on the 1.2 version. The only way you can tell is the back. Like mine's the 1.1. The other one is also gray, the 1.2. But all subsequent re-releases is the 1.2 version. Later on, they actually censored some of the symbols and stuff in the game too. So there's like technically like another version of it, but this is the original, and this one also has the original like uncensored red blood from Ganon and stuff like that. And there's like I said, some of the symbols in the music that they changed in the Fire Temple. That was the changed Fire Temple music right there. That was it, right? Wasn't that it? It was. It was. This is the removed version. So this is probably the version that I used to hear as a kid. It's got chanting, Islamic chanting in the background is the idea. And this is why they changed it. Because it was controversial or whatever. But supposedly there was even another version before release where they even changed the music again. So there's like a beta version where the music was even more different. But this is like from a sound library or whatever. Yeah, there you go. You can hear the chanting. A sound library like of like royalty-free sound effects or whatever. There's a whole video from a series called Pop Fiction on that. Yeah, I'll put that there. Hopefully that stays. Very interesting video. That's actually how I know about the African tribe thing for the Forest Temple, and it made me realize like. Go listen to that video if you're interested in the music of this game because it's very interesting. Anywho, so the Fire Temple's pretty cool. I like the aspect of saving the Gorons. One of the things that I noticed this time around too, and I probably noticed this before, but it's a really nice little touch. There's lots of little things like this throughout Ocarina of Time that are just really cool. But the Gorons, when they're before you come and save them, they're all kind of imprisoned in this dungeon. They're all rolled up in their little Goron form. Okay, whatever. They're all like that. But I noticed there's an animation for them like shaking, like they're scared and like afraid. And I'm like, oh my god. Wow, how did I never notice this before? That's good attention to detail right there. Like, holy shit, they're scared. They should be. They're all gonna get eaten by this fucking dragon and they're super scared. So they're shaking. And I'm like, oh wow, I never noticed that before. That's really cool. Like, wow, it's an animation I just never noticed. It's just really neat, I thought. It's just really good stuff. That's Nintendo for you. Always putting in the extra mile. And especially with this game. This is the era where Nintendo just went above and beyond. Nowadays, you can call Nintendo lazy all you want. God, it's a whole thing. We can get into that some other time. But, God, man, this was their golden age. Right here, man. This is it, man. Like, fucking, they're about to make Majora's Mask after this shit. The Ocarina of Time, and, some people would say, like, Mario 64 and stuff. And, get to the, like, better Marios with Galaxy and whatnot, But that's a whole other thing. We've already talked about all that. I mean, sort of. I talked about Galaxy, but I haven't talked about the other ones, probably. Anywho, that's not it. It's not related to Zelda, really. So yeah, the Fire Temple, pretty cool. I like the Water Temple. It's grown on me since I was a kid. I think it's really cool. The one, oh, that's what it was. I remember now. The one key I could not find was the key that was underneath the thing. When you raise the water level for the second time, you go into that one door, and then you like go up that part, and then you like play the thing, and then you raise it, and that block comes up, and it shows you the hole underneath there, but it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. And if you miss it, you miss it, and then you're just fucked, and you don't realize, like, hey, that's where I need to go down there to get this key. And so I was like stumbling around forever trying to figure this shit out. That might have been one that I actually had to look up. Now I'm thinking about it, I might have used a guide for that. So yeah, like, that one really tricked me up as a kid. But like, you know, so that's the kind of stuff about the water temple that really like tripped me up. Like I was saying, I wasn't really using all my resources to kind of like look in every direction. And yeah, I played it over a lot of different times. I didn't play it all in one go, so it was kind of like a have I checked here kind of thing. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while. Did I do all the things? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know, I wasn't like as logical and systematic as I am now. Like, okay, I know I've been here. I recall going here, doing this thing. You know, I can remember a lot better now. Back then, it was just like, I'm just a kid. I'm just playing this shit. I don't fucking know. Did I do this? You know, I'm gonna go fucking like go fishing or something instead. Try and get that one. I remember me and Mayav, like, one time, we sat there and just, like, tried to catch the biggest fish in Ocarina, like, to get the heart piece, and we played some of the fire temple and stuff. I remember I had him there for, so that's pretty cool. Good little memory there. Yeah. And then you got the Shadow Temple, which is also a pretty good temple. Like, it's not one of my favorite ones, but it's alright. You know, there's a lot of good imagery there. I like some of the puzzles, how you gotta use the lens of truth, and like, there's that one that's like got the hidden block, and then you have to like push it between the like things that are coming down with the spikes, and then you get like on top of there. I thought that room was pretty cool. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, like the big boat room in there is pretty cool, and then there's like the room with all like the little wall masters, and they lead to like separate little rooms. And I like the room where you have to either use Din's fire or the fire arrows to destroy the little two spike things that are coming to get the boss key. I think that's pretty cool. Stuff like that is neat. There's a lot of little secrets in the Shadow Temple too, which are pretty cool. Yeah, lots of good stuff for the Shadow Temple. And then the Spirit Temple, you know? You know, the other thing I like about the Shadow Temple is how it's hidden in a place that you've been to. So you're like, okay, I probably know where, like, the Forest Temple is. You can kind of infer, like, okay, maybe Death Mountain, like, in the lava crater part. Like, that's where the Fire Temple is going to be. The Water Temple, like, it's under Lake Hylia, but it's like, where's the Shadow Temple? I don't know. It's like, because Sheik says at the beginning of the game, or at the beginning of the next half of the game where you're an adult Link, she's like, in the forest, in a volcano, you know, under the water. You're like, alright, I know all those ones. And she's like, in the House of the Dead, and you're like, the fuck's that? I haven't come across that yet. And then she's like, out in the desert. And you're like, okay, I know, I kind of, you might have run into the desert at that point, maybe not. It's not like really an area you can do a whole lot with as a kid. So, but yeah. So then, so I think that's cool. The mysteriousness of like, where is the Shadow Temple? And then the Spirit Temple is cool too, because you actually have to do a little piece of it as a kid. So that's kind of a cool thing. It's kind of the well equivalent to, oh god, how did I get through this whole fucking review without talking about the fucking creature at the bottom of the goddamn well? That thing is terrifying! Like, what the fuck? Is this game rated E for horrific violence and imagery? that the Donkey joke. I love Donkey's review of this game, by the way. I love when he does reviews because they're like actually very insightful sometimes. Like when he does his Donkey, like they're actual very good reviews. Like those, they're hilarious and stuff, but they're also like really insightful. And one of the best ones is Ocarina of Time, and Banjo-Kazooie is another really good one. But it's like one of my favorite videos of his is the Ocarina of Time video. It's very poignant and meaningful to like what Ocarina of Time's all about. He understands it. There's so much good analysis of this game out there. Matthew Matosis, even Digibro did like a video about it like forever ago about the movement of Ocarina of Time. And I know he did a few other Zelda videos, but like stuff like that. Some Call Me Johnny's review is really good. There's so much good analysis of Ocarina of Time out there. And Zelda in general, I would say. But yeah, I love hearing all like the theories and stuff about this game and all of that stuff and thought out the lore and whatnot. But yeah, like the Spirit Temple because you do half of it as a kid, and not half of it, you do a little part of it as a kid, and then you have to come back as an adult. And you can even revisit some of those kid rooms as an adult. You travel kind of on the opposite side to get in there. Yeah, there's a room that I didn't go into this time, now that I'm thinking about it. Huh. Anyway, so, yeah, that's just kind of cool. I like the Spirit Temple. The boss, Twin Rover, is pretty cool. I didn't even talk about the bosses. That's half of what I missed here. So, the first boss, Goma, I talked about. Second boss, Dodongo, so you just throw the bombs at his mouth. Yeah, that's a nice little callback to the original Zelda there. The third boss I like a lot because he's like sort of like the eyeball boss from the other game where you kind of have to like take the things and then you cut into them or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you don't really use well, okay, yeah. Because then there is the boss later, Mifa, not Mifa, that's the lady from Morpha, that's it. Mifa's from Breath of the Wild. Morpha, that's it. He's like actually kind of like the well, I mean, he's not really, because he like there's an eyeball guy in Majora's Mask too, but like Morpha's kind of more like that where you have to use the hook shot to like get at him. Yeah, the long shot at that rate. But I like how the hook shot's kind of just like off the beaten path too. Like you have to get it like for the game, but it's just kind of like out in the graveyard, you know. You have to race Dampy to get it, and it's like that's kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, but like you get the long shot to do that, and then what's interesting is you can actually like kind of trap that thing in the corner, and I think that's the speedrunner strat is to like take the little ball out of Morpha there, get it in the corner, and just slash it to where it can't like get away from you, and you just like kind of win instantly. And a lot of those fights, like if you have the Bigoron sword, they make it go a lot faster. I noticed that the Bigoron sword is kind of like slower to slash. And that's kind of the trade-off, especially when you're trying to do stuff like the Ganon fight with like the energy ball tennis, you know, like yeah, that's a lot harder to do. The Master Sword's a lot easier for that one, or bottle or something. But like, I still just use the Bigoron sword just to make it like harder, and also that way I don't have to like go into the menu and switch out, switch in, that kind of thing. So yeah. But anyway, also another thing about Ganon, Dorf that is when he does that like that big charge ball thing. I used to think that was undodgeable, but like really all you have to do is charge your sword, and then you do a slash thing, and it shoots it back at him, and it's the same thing as doing the energy ball thing. So like every time he attacks you, essentially, other than when he does like the earthquake thing to knock the things down, you can basically like get him to where you got to shoot the light arrow at him obviously after that, but like you can get him to be able to be attacked. So little fun thing that I haven't done that many times. I'm sure everyone already knew that, and like I'm just an idiot and like always just thought that was Like, you just had to dodge it or something for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so, yeah. Oh, and Volvagia, yeah, that's a great boss, you know, cool. You get to fight a dragon, kind of, that's neat. Bongo Bongo is interesting. You gotta shoot his hands, and then you shoot his eye, and then you just start slashing him, and you're on this bongo the whole time. Like, that's kind of neat. And there's, like, everything around you is, like, poison, you know, bad, like, shit you don't want to, like, get knocked into, but it's easy to get knocked into kind of thing. Of course, Twin Rova. That's an interesting fight. I kind of always have trouble with steering the shield because they're moving fast, but it's just like it's so fast the way you got to do it to like get the shield to like do it. That's why I like the second part of the fight more because you just like get to like charge your shield. As long as you're dodging the right one and charging with the right one, it's good. I think that part is much better executed overall than the first part of that fight. And the Iron Knuckle is a really cool enemy. You know, of course, Egoraptor went on and on about that in his sequelitis video there. It's like, oh, it's the coolest enemy. It's provoked to attack you and all this. Guess what? Here's how it's a poop bad thing or whatever. You know, but anyway, I think it's a really cool enemy. And I like how as like little, you know, young Link, when you're fighting it, you're basically Dark Souling this shit. You can roll around it and like jump to the side and dodge it and shit. If you try to do that as adult Link, you're gonna get your fucking ass kicked. And like, I'm sure you can do it as adult Link, and I'm probably just not good enough. But like, it's a lot harder to do. So it's like, I like the contrast in that fight, like between the two. Now the optimal strategy is just use bomb chews and bombs and just spam it and, you know, kill the thing. But like, it's still a fun fight. I still think it's cool. I think it's cool how you can knock into the pillars and like there's items and stuff in there. Like, Egoraptor's right. If they had done more bosses like that, that would have been pretty cool. I still really love the bosses overall though. With minor exception to maybe like the first part of Twin Rova is kind of a little bit annoying just because you have to like line it up with them and then they're always moving and shit. Like, that's probably the worst part of it, if any of the bosses, I guess. The rest of them are really cool, though. So the dungeons are all really well designed. The bosses are all really cool. Like, the mini games are all great. The music and the atmosphere in the game and the graphics even, especially for the time. And if you're using like some sort of like a HD kind of thing like I am, it just looks so good. And the 3D version just looks amazing as well. Like, looks really good. Like, it's a really good looking game. I would think. I know people are like, oh, it probably hasn't aged, like, the graphics didn't age that well. No, it's a really good looking game, to me. I don't know. Whatever. And I know the control and the camera and stuff. I still think that stuff holds up pretty good, as long as you're used to it. I know there's some rough patches with it, but once you're kind of there, it's like, you know, you get it. But I know that can be a struggle for some people just coming into it and whatnot, and very understandable. But I just think there's a really good magic to Ocarina of Time. And part of that is nostalgia, and part of that is just like it's a really groundbreaking game, and it's just, for its era, it's the peak, you know, the peak of like this is so hype. This is Zelda. This is Zelda. This is what like we were imagining the first 3D Zelda to be like, and it lived up to all those expectations, you know? And to those who would say it's overrated now, I would say, you know, maybe, yeah, but it's a milestone game. And I still definitely think it holds up a lot better than, like, Super Mario 64 and stuff like that. And even better than, like, Super Mario Sunshine and stuff. And, you know, in some aspects, it holds up better than, like, even later Zelda games. Like, I love the Wind Waker, but, like, the dungeons aren't anything to write home about. But, like, Ocarina of Time's dungeons are, like, really iconic, you know? So, there you go. This is kind of the standard of which, for dungeons, that we've kind of set Zelda games by. Every game's trying to be Ocarina of Time, you know, again, you know, Twilight Princess was trying to be Ocarina of Time again. Everyone loved Ocarina of Time. You know, it's like, I get it. The new generation's like, well, what's so special about that game? It's like, you know, you kind of just had to be there, man. It was pretty groundbreaking, you know. It was very important. It's a very important game. No, it is. It's very important. That was a very important Zelda game. And just game in general, to translate all of this to 3D. And the feel of it is very good. Even like the rolling and the dodging and all of that, I think is cool. Z-targeting, like I said, is really an innovative thing. I know there's a lot of waiting. I know there's that, but like, that's just the kind of game that this is. I feel like a lot of other Zelda games have that too, so like, I'm not so bent out of shape about that. They could have cut down on the waiting, yeah, a little bit. That would have been nice, but just saying. So yeah, but like, I really love the game, you know? Like, even the characters are like, okay, now obviously Majora's Mask has better characters. We could all do that, but I think that the characters are still cool, and I like the sages especially. They're really cool. I like how these characters, I felt like they were all, you know, well developed, the sage characters, but for the most part, like, you don't really see much of Impa beforehand, but you know, other than that, I feel like all of them kind of had their time to shine, sort of thing. So something else I really do like is that the songs to transport you around the world, I think, is a really good idea, because then that means that you can pretty much get to any area you need to be as long as you've learned that song like pretty fast, and that's really cool. Obviously, when you're doing like some of the side quests, like the bigger on side quests, you can't just warp there, otherwise the item will like go bad or whatever. But it's still really helpful when you're just trying to get around, or you just need to like go back to this temple, or like near that temple. If I want to go to like Goron City, well, you know, I'm gonna warp to the Death Mountain there, and just like, you know, it's a lot easier than running all the way there, kind of thing, is what I'm trying to say. So that's really helpful that they can warp you everywhere, and then when you get the one to warp the Temple of Time, that helps you a lot when you're trying to switch between things. And now I know the link, the thing from the Eager Raptor video, I know that, you know, in Link to the Past, you do a mirror and that's it. You switch between worlds. That is helpful, but I don't mind this way as well. It's not really that big of an inconvenience for me anyway. You're not like switching worlds all the time. You're just switching worlds every now and again. And maybe it would have been better if you were switching worlds constantly. But then we have Oracle of Ages, which we'll get to. Which, that was a cool gimmick in that game, but it's also kind of annoying, so that's all. Yeah, about that. You know, sometimes mechanic is fine, I would say. I like how Ganon's Tower is a combination of kind of a little bit of trial run for everything that you've sort of done to that point. You know, they have like one section for each of the dungeons, and even a section for the light dungeon, which isn't a thing, speculated to have been in beta things, but like for the light sage there was one. And I like how they kind of fake you out at the end of that one, like you can't shoot the thing, so you have to like go to the next room. And actually, in that room, that's the only room that I can think of in that dungeon where there is a wall master and it can grab you and take you back to the beginning. That's so fucked, actually. So they double fake you out in that room. It's awesome. But yeah, I like Ganon's Tower. I like how it's kind of a good final culmination of everything. And then I like when you're walking up towards Ganon, how, you know, there's like some mini bosses and stuff, but I like how the music, you know, is getting louder. The dun, da dun, da dun, da dun, you know, that thing. And then when you get up there, you see he's playing the fucking piano. I just think that's so epic. And then like the whole like thing with the Triforce and all that. That's really cool. Yeah, you know, like the storyline's pretty decent. It's like it's no Majora's Mask, but Majora's Mask is more about the characters and stuff. You know, like it's an iconic turning point for the Zelda timeline and stuff. Like obviously, it's very important to that whole thing. But it's mostly just like the standard, like it is a standard because of this game, but like the hero fight Ganon, save the world kind of thing. Like, but it's pretty cool. It's not bad. But the Triforce and all that. This is like the first time we really saw the Triforce, like the three pieces of the Triforce. That's really important to the lore: the courage, wisdom, and power. And that would always like come back in like Wind Waker and stuff. Yeah, this game I feel like made Ganondorf really a thing because he hadn't been a thing really before that, right? It's always just Ganon before that, so that's pretty important. But anyway, like as a final boss fight, the Ganondorf part is cool. It's really kind of just a repeat of the other part with Phantom Ganon, but the Ganon part is really cool. I like how you have to make your escape too. Like that's this part, like this music playing here. You make your escape with Zelda and whatever, and then you fight. You think it's over, and then Ganon. It's not even Ganondorf anymore. It's Ganon now. Of course, the iconic Ganon. You have to fight him in every other game. You fight him in this game, and it's like, oh my god! Like look at him. He's big and massive, and he's just like, this is Ganon. When you think of Ganon, this is it, man. Like he's the big pig form, and I think this like in the lore is like the first time that he changed into this form, or whatnot. And I know that the battle just basically boils down to roll through his legs and hit his tail or whatever, but like it's just epic, dude. I like maybe it's really silly to anybody who's like coming into this now, but like you guys don't understand. Like in 98, this was the most epic boss fight we had ever done, like ever, especially for final bosses. And like it was in 3D, and like you roll and then you hit his tail, and like, oh, he's so strong. And there's like, he can hit these pillars where there's like magic and fairies and shit. And oh man, bombs and shit. It's just really cool. It's like one of the most epic boss fights, and the music was really good, obviously, and that kind of shit. Yeah, dude, it was really good. And then like halfway through, Zelda it stops, like you hit him and then you can get your Master Sword back. Of course I just used the Big Rod Sword the whole time, but you actually have to kill him with the Master Sword. So during that second half of the fight, I always just use the Master Sword. It's like a certain amount of times you have to hit his tail or whatever. So, yeah, but then Zelda, does the light thing. The real way you're supposed to do it is, like, shoot him with light arrows, but that takes, like, a ton of magic. There's no Chateau Romani in this game where you can just get infinite magic, so I don't tend to do that strategy, really. But, yeah. Oh, shit. See, I'm probably going to forget something. There's bottles in this game. You can get 4 of them. You get one from the letter thing with Ruto. You get one from the cuckoo side quest I talked about earlier. Where you run around Kakariko Village and you collect all the cuckoos. I think that's really cool. You get one from... what else? There's another one you can get it, right, as a kid? Do you get it as an adult? I'm trying to think. Oh, Romani. Romani. Talon. He gives you... if you do the milk mini game. So you, like, have to pick up the chickens at Romani Ranch or whatever, yeah. And then the last one you get from doing this Big Poe side quest. So throughout the adult world, there's these Big Poes out in Hyrule Field, and some of them are really fucking tricky. I said the shooting gallery or the shooting range thing was like the hardest thing. There's one Poe that's like near Kakariko Village. That was like, it gave me so much trouble as a kid. I got all the other ones. That was the hardest one to shoot and take down, but I did do it as a kid. But yeah, they're all out there. They're in like the most random, obscure locations. You have to like go at like a certain way to like make them appear and stuff, and you only have such a small window to take them down and then go grab their spirit, sell it to this guy in Castle Town, you know, like the destroyed Castle Town or whatever. So that's pretty cool. The fourth bottle side quest, yeah. Anyway, so Ganon, really epic fight. This music's fucking awesome, and of course, when you beat him, then the game's over. And yeah, you have to go back in time. Navi leaves you. You actually go on a whole quest in Majora's Mask that's the beginning of Majora's Mask. You're going off to find Navi. Zelda sends you back in time to have the childhood that you had lost over the 7 years. And yeah, it's Link goes back to tell Zelda, like, hey, here's how to stop, like, Ganondorf. What he's gonna do. That's the theory anyway. Like, none of this actually gets said, but like, they meet again like it's the first time, and that's what it's implied. That's how the game ends, is like that. But like, the ending here when this music is playing, where it kind of pans back over all the eras, and then it gets to the party like I was talking about earlier. That's just really emotionally satisfying, I think, for this game. I know it's not as impactful as the Majora's Mask ending, and that game is all about its characters and its world and the 3-day cycle and trying to help these people and figure out all of that, and that's why that ending is so emotional. But this ending is also very emotional, because this game is just really good, I think, is what it comes down to. And the music is excellent. The story's pretty good, and I think it's mostly just lore, but like, I think that's fine for what this is. You know, they didn't really focus on that because this was kind of their first 3 outing, and it's good for what it is. And I think this ending is a very solid conclusion to what was laid out before. And I just, you know, like, all of that aside, like, I just really love this game. It's one of my favorite games. Obviously, I'll think back on this game, and I just think of my childhood, and I think of watching that guy play it, and I think of me playing it as a kid, and all the good times I had, and how it was just so much fun to play back then, and it was just a really good, comforting game to me. And how beautiful all of those good memories are, you know, and getting to re-experience that, sharing this game with my friend Jameson, who we had some troubles and some struggles through the game, but overall I remember that being a fun experience of sharing that with him. And just how this game keeps persisting and being there as this staple game that I can always go back to, and you know, if I want 100% it, I can, or if I just want to get all the heart pieces, or if I just want to go through the story. It's one of those games I can just pick up and play anytime, and I know exactly what I'm doing. And maybe I'm a little rusty and I'll have to like look up a walkthrough, but like this time I really didn't even have to look up that much. I had to find 2 heart pieces that I was missing. Actually 3. There was 3. 'Cause there was... Okay, so here's the ones that I was missing. So there was the one in Gerudo Valley, where it's just this random box, like, that's like halfway down the fucking canyon or whatever. So you have to know that that's there. And there's a heart piece in there. And I knew about it, but I just couldn't remember where that fucking box was. So, yeah. So there's that one. There was the one that was over by Lake Hylia, where you have to bomb that, like, just that random spot there. And then there's a Deku who will sell you one for 10 rupees down there. And then there's the one, The other one I forgot was in the grave. I knew there was something about that grave that was in the graveyard. There was a random grave, you know, with the re-dead, and then you just play this sun song, and the thing appears, and that's a heart piece. That's the other one I forgot. So there was those three was the ones I forgot. I knew about all the other ones. And I got, like, you know, a good 75% of the Skulltulas. So just off of memory. So, like, I think that's pretty good. The ones I didn't get were some of the more complicated ones with, like, the Scarecrow song and stuff. Like, I could have went and got those, but, like, I don't know. I just didn't really want to do that this time. All you get for, like, doing all of the Skulltulas is, I didn't even get into that. Like, so the third one is you get the best wallet that lets you hold 500 rupees. The fourth one you get bomb shoes or some shit like that. And then the fifth one you get a heart piece. And then the last one you get infinite money. So anytime you need money, you go back to that guy. That would have been nice to know as a kid when doing that fucking archery thing. But, like, I don't think I would have had all the Skulltulas or even been able to find them all back then. So really doesn't do you a whole lot of good. But, you know, whatever. It's just a cool little Easter egg there for somebody who's found them all. But I have done it multiple times. In the 3D remake, there's actually little Skulltula icons on the map that tell you where you need to continue looking for those. So it's very helpful to kind of help you round out that. So that's a good helpful thing there. And there's a lot of good improvements in the 3D remake. It's not like Majora's Mask 3D where it's actually a bad version of the game. It's actually a really good version of the game. And I think if you want to experience Ocarina of Time, that's probably the way to do it nowadays. So yeah, get that. Yeah, this is it's one of my favorite games, you know? It's like number 11 or something on the list. And it's just a really special game to me, Ocarina. I really love it. It's just one of the greatest games of all time. And I know I'm one of those guys, but hopefully this video and this journey will have convinced you of why, in my nearly 2 fucking hour long review of Ocarina of Time, will have convinced you of why this game is so special to me and so many other people. Because it's like one of the like top 10 most definitive games of the 90s, I would say. Like, and it was a very influential game, and so many cool things like the Temple of Time would, you know, continue on beyond this game. There's so many good songs and so many good moments in the game, and the atmosphere and the world, the way the world is built, and all the little secrets and everything just come together to make such a... This is great. This is great that this is just like here. This is like the next song. It's oh, this must be from the 3D remake or whatever. It's just gotta be, right? Come on, Hyrule Field, right? Like, that alone should make this game like a fucking 10 out of 10. Listen to this music. It's amazing. Listen how triumphant this sounds. This is fucking awesome. I love this. Dun, 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 dun. Just fills me with joy. Oh. Whew. Listen to that. That's amazing. And all the little worlds, all the little side areas. Death Mountain, the forest, you know, the Zora River, the Lake Hylia, fucking the desert. They're all very varied areas, and they're just really cool. And there's a lot of difference throughout the world, and it just feels very unique and vibrant and well realized, you know, well thought out. It's like very well thought out. It's so well thought out. There's a concept that I love in games, that I tell all these people who are like, we need open world everything. No, density, man, density. That's what this game has, density. And I love how dense everything in the world is. It's not like so spread out that you have to like, that you're gonna be bored all the time. There's always something where you are, to do and discover and find and secrets everywhere and stuff, and it's dense with that, and I love that. That's the kind of mentality in games that I adore so much. That's why Tomba is my favorite game, because everywhere there's a secret, and there's this guy needs a thing, and you gotta like figure that out or whatever, and the denseness of it, and just the whole world is very well realized, and that's what Ocarina of Time does so well, amongst everything else. Everything about it is really good. The only thing that's maybe questionable is like the controls, and I feel like once you get used to that, you're just used to it for life, and that's about it. Everything else, and maybe the camera. But the camera's a lot better than Mario 64, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I love it. It's a 10 out of 10 game for me. It's amazing. It's fantastic. There's like not much else. I could go on about it all day. I'm sure there's something I missed. You know, there is one thing I missed. I didn't talk about the Gerudo sneaking around. You have to like stealth around. And you save all those guys in the little areas and whatnot. You have to fight the little Gerudo ladies. I kind of mentioned it. It's like that's a cool thing. And then like areas open to you afterwards or whatever. I don't know. That's just a random thought here at the end of the game, at the end of the review. So yeah. I love it. This game's amazing. It's literally one of the best games and one of the best Zelda games to me. I know some people think it's overrated, but to me, it's just really special. And honestly, it was one of the first video games that was ever my video game, you know, because like, it was like Pokemon, Red and Blue, maybe Gold. It's like Pokemon Red, then maybe Gold, then Mega Man 64, and then this, and maybe, no, Battle Network and stuff would have been after this, and this, you know, like, you know, and like Tomba and Spyro and stuff, but the games that were my games, that like I bought with my money. I guess I didn't really do that with Pokemon Gold. Like, it was Mega Man 64, Ocarina of Time. The N64 was the first system I bought with my own money, and Ocarina of Time was one of the first games I bought with my own money. And I love this game, and I still have it. I still got that controller, and this is a 10 out of 10. I love it. You've seen the review. Here it is. Till next time, when we do Majora's Mask, hopefully it'll be an epic video like this, because I love Majora's Mask. There's so fucking much shit to talk about. Hopefully I'm not like burned out on Majora's Mask now, because like I just played it last year. I might just do, like, it's hard to say. I don't want to do the bare minimum. One thing I want to do with Majora's Mask this time is I want to beat the boss, the final boss, legitimately, and not use the Fierce Deity's mask like I always do. I always use it. I'm going to do it legit this time. But until then, this has been JZNES saying keep it classic, stick around for more reviews, underrated games, more Zelda for the entire year. Yeah. And that was it. That was Ocarina of Time. Until next time, JZ out.